Whoop, the dynamic duo.
Literally. All right, let's listen to some of the other stuff.
About now. So Peter and I, along with a group of very talented writers, have started to map out an 8 to 10 year plan of what DC Studios will be in film, television, and gaming. This first chapter is called Gods and Monsters. Now this, what I'm about to tell you, is a part of the first chapter. It's not the entire first chapter. The first project is Creature Commandos. Creature Commandos is an animated series. I've written all the episodes. Something we're going to do that's a little bit different at DC is we're going to have characters move into animation, out of animation, usually having the same actor play their voice as who plays them in live action.
So, Creature Commandos. Creature Commandos animated series written by James Gunn. What's your thought on that?
I have two schools of thought on this. This is a concept that's not really new. And a lot of people may not remember this. By itself, the idea is not terrible. It's silly as all get out. Because what the concept is that the original Universal monster characters are in a world where they're real. And the government has basically brought them into the fold to become a group of semi-military superhero saviors. Now, the reason why I say this isn't new is because in reality, although it was done differently, the reason why I say it's not new is in the early 1970s, I think between 73 and 74, okay, there was a Saturday morning cartoon show for kids, but it was live action. It was during that period of time where Sid and Marty Krofft and a couple of other folk, Filmation had a handful of live shows, but they were based on Saturday morning kid fare. There was a show called Monster Squad. And Monster Squad was the adventures of Frankenstein, Wolfman, and Dracula as crime fighters that were aided by, of all people, and I am not kidding, for those of you who do not believe me, go look it up on the internet. It's there. They were aided by a young scientist that worked at a museum. And the three characters that I just mentioned were wax figures at that museum. And the character of Walter, who was played by, of all people, Fred Grandy from The Love Boat. He was very young when he did this. Okay. The gentleman who played Gopher, yes, he started out on Saturday morning TV, folks. He basically figured out a way of bringing them to life. And they would run around at night as saviors of the city. I forgot where it was. I don't know if it was New York or now or what title they gave it. But they would run around and be out there until late at night. And he would animate them. They would go out. They would do their thing. They would help the city and be returned to their waxworks displays before morning. And I'm not saying that that's exactly what James Gunn is doing, but something tells me that somebody may have seen this thing and decided, let's resurrect this.
Creature Commando is not a DC series. It's not. I don't know DC as well as you do.
It's an actual Creature Commandos is also. It's been a limited run comic book.
Okay.
And I can tell you, although it's very hard to find, the original Monster Squad thing that I just mentioned is available on DVD.
Gotcha.
You have to look through Robin Hood's barn to get it, but it's out there. And I think the biggest differences with the comic is that It involves the Bride of Frankenstein, the Creature from the Black Lagoon, the Mummy, etc. They're bringing in a lot more characters than Frank, Drac, and Wolfie.
Yeah.
If it's done right, I can see it as what I call a cutesy pootsy kind of kids thing, and it may work as a total animated show. I mean, other shows have been done that have become major hits that I can't stand at all. Teen Titans Go is one of them, but I can't stand it.
I thought they were funny.
I just it sends a shiver down my back, and it's not a happy thing. But that's what I truly think has happened here. And they've decided, let's update this and try to do it again.
Yeah, I agree with you 1,000%. The concept seemed familiar. I wasn't sure if it was a comic book. I never heard of Creature Commandos, but the concept was definitely something that was familiar. So maybe I'm referencing Monster Squad. To me, this is a no announcement. DC doesn't need help in their animated series. They were releasing animated series on a regular basis. I don't know how their success was rated because so many of them are so good, but so many of them are not talked about. They're obscure. You got to have Prime Video or HBO to watch them, but the quality of the work has been, I'd say 80% really, really, really high. And so if it's good, then it's just another announcement. If it's not so good, then it's just another announcement. You know what I mean? There's nothing particularly interesting at all to me about watching the Creature Commandos. That concept, that those not those characters, but I don't know the comic book, so I don't know. I don't know this Creature Commandos thing at all. So I'm not interested in Creature Commandos. It doesn't mean to say I'm not going to watch it. What it means to say is I'm not going to necessarily look for it and make sure that I watch it if you are doing something that I was particularly interested in. So that's a no news. It's not a big deal. It's a throwaway situation as far as I'm concerned.
If you'll allow me, one thing that I do want to add is, and this goes into going back to my original statement when we started this show. This is why I'm not completely apologizing to James Gunn for the platform and for the pieces they're picking, because I think you knew or may know there was another Batman animated series coming called The Caped Crusader. Mm-hmm. And it was supposed to deal with his early days and what have you, and it was being put together by J.J. Abrams and the original team that had put together Batman the Animated Series, which is the gold standard.
It is.
For me.
It is. And for a lot of people.
They decided, and it's very upsetting, Franz, I'm sorry. These shows are ready. They're in the can, and DC won't let them go.
That's ridiculous.
They're sitting in
That's
one of their
unacceptable.
warehouses, and they basically said, "Oh, don't release the show. We don't want it." But you pick Creature Commandos instead.
One of the things, Chris, and I think I said that in the beginning, or maybe in a previous show, but one of the things, while I tried to be understanding of James Gunn's dilemma in terms of choice and ability to make decisions financially and so on and so forth. One of the real criticism is that this guy seems to be picking things that he likes or that fit under, his agenda. Hiring his wife, I think she's a terrific actress. She stood out to me. She did a great job, I thought. And then Peacemaker, she's very, very funny. But the nepotism and I'm choosing what I like and getting rid of good stuff that I don't relate to. I think you have to be careful with that. So that's one of the criticism that I would have. Next news.